First of all, I want to tell you that we have the president of Kitchener-Westmount Rotary Club with us. Her name is Laura Power. She grew up in the area from a young age, it said. We all grow up from a young age. She met her husband when he was with the Heartland Whalers. Hartford, yeah, well, whoever spelled this right. You remember the Hartford Whalers of the WHA? I don't either. She and Larry are 34 years married. They have a son, Cameron, who's a forensic identification lab specialist with the Toronto Police Department. We've met him. He's an interesting guy. Health and fitness is very much in their family, their lifestyle. She's running marathons of all kinds, including 2 in Boston. She's really sickening when it comes to how good shape she is. Laura's worked in the financial services industry for over 35 years. She's with Scotia Wealth Management and the Miller Investment Group since 2008, and she has a securities license as well as an insurance license for whatever good that will do. Laura Power is our president. We're proud. She joined Rotary in 2015, and 4 years later, she was already our president. We're the Kitchener-Westmount Club. We're the one who first introduced women to Rotary, and she is one of our many female presidents. Please welcome Laura to the platform.
Thank you, Neil. On behalf of the I'll start again. On behalf of the Rotary Clubs of Kitchener and Kitchener-Westmount, I would like to welcome you all to our State of the Region lunch. I can't believe how many people are at our first annual State of the Region lunch. We are thrilled to be your hosts. Take a moment and look around you. Today, we are pleased to welcome local dignitaries and politicians from across the region. We are also excited to see so many members of our community from across all sectors: business, education, community service, and of course, the volunteer sector. I think you will all make great Rotarians. As a matter of fact, I know Neil already mentioned this, but on the back of our, on the back of your program, you will see the list of all the regional clubs and their meeting information. And I would like to extend an invitation for you all to attend a meeting sometime over the next year to learn more about Rotary and how you can become more involved. We live in a great region. It is vibrant and progressive and is growing in diversity and its invitation. Waterloo Region is a community built on immigration, and I'm especially pleased to welcome all of our guests from Immigration Partnership. Immigration Partnership is a collaboration of more than 60 community service, business, municipal, and post-secondary organizations and residents from across Waterloo Region who have worked together for more than 10 years to create conditions for immigrants to settle, work, and belong in order to build a welcoming and dynamic community. Immigration Partnership helps community service organizations work better together and adapt services for an increasingly diverse population while supporting employees in our region with much needed newcomer talent. They were also instrumental in bringing this community together during the federal government's Syrian refugee initiative by welcoming over 1,800 new residents to the region. Immigration Partnerships and staff are here today with leaders from many Waterloo Region's diverse ethnic communities, along with the newest members of our region from around the world. And now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our regional chair. In the 2018 municipal election, Karen Redmond was elected as the regional chair of the Waterloo Region. Karen has been dedicated to public service for more than 20 years. She has represented the community at several levels of government, including federal, municipal, and the Board of Education. Prior to being elected as chair, Karen served on the Regional Council as a representative for the City of Kitchener. Karen has a Master of Political Science, as well as the Honors Bachelor degree in English. Among her professional endeavors, Karen served as Chief Executive Officer at Habitat for Humanity, Waterloo Region, from 2010 to 2018. Other community activities, Karen has served as chair of the Independent Living Center of Waterloo Region and was the president of the Kitchener Club in 2014 and 2015, and she's also been a board member of the Martin Luther University College. Karen is also an elder at St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church in Kitchener. Karen is a proud recipient of the Queen's Jubilee Medal and the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Medal. Karen is a lifelong resident of Waterloo. She currently resides with her husband Warren and their 4 grown children. Please welcome me, or join me in welcoming Karen Redmond. Thank you, Karen.
I grew up along the rocky shores of the Grand River in Cambridge, and I well remember, shout out for Cambridge, I well remember grabbing a toboggan as a child and going with my 2 sisters and going down the snow-covered hills onto the frozen river. And I can remember in the spring that we would hunt for tadpoles and frogs, and in the summer we would skip rocks and we would wade in the river. And I love those memories. I love the river because it was full of life. It was always a new surprise, regardless of the season. As an adult, a parent, and a grandparent, I still love those things, but I also appreciate the symbolism of the Grand, connecting our communities, carving its own path towards the future, and always, always resilient. Connecting, future-focused, resilient. To me, this is the quintessential story of Waterloo Region. Thank you for joining me here today at our first State of the Region address. Today is an important opportunity to recognize our accomplishments, share our priorities for the future, and acknowledge our challenges. It has certainly been challenging for everyone during the recent transit strike, but talks have resumed, and I'm hopeful we'll soon have a resolution. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the shared history that brought us to this point. What I have learned over the years from Indigenous teaching is to be respectful, grateful, and protective of our ties to the river and to the land. This tie is not about ownership, it is one of stewardship. The land on which we gather today is traditionally used by the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabeg, and the Neutral people. I also acknowledge the enduring presence and the deep traditional knowledge and philosophies of Indigenous people with whom we share this land. I wish to extend a special thank you to Kitchener and Kitchener-Westmount Rotary clubs for hosting today's event and inviting me to present the first State of the Region address. Service above self is a value that has drawn me and so many others to Rotary. And it's a defining value that we share collectively as a community. I also want to thank all of the elected officials who have joined us today, my regional colleagues at the cities of Kitchener, Cambridge, and Waterloo, Wilmot, Wellesley, North Dumfries, and Woolwich. I would also like to thank elected officials who came before us, locally, provincially, and federally. People who shared and nurtured this community. Experience has taught me that no one level of government can do everything. We work in collaboration, not competition with other levels of government. What happens here at the local level has the most immediate impact on you, your family, and your businesses. Thank you to all of you for being here today and sharing in our commitment to a strong governance and long-term planning that has allowed Waterloo Region to prosper and flourish. There's another key partner of the region's success that I want to touch on, our passionate, dedicated, and innovative workforce. Over the past year, I have visited many regional facilities. I am so proud of our regional staff. They truly care about this community and take pride in their contributions. They're an impressive group. And it's through their boots-on-the-ground work, implementing council's vision, that the progress and achievements that I'm going to talk about today have been possible. For the staff that are here, I say thank you. And for the thousands who are not, thank you for what you do to make this community great. Celebration and challenges. We have so much to celebrate in Waterloo Region. We have a strong economy, vibrant neighborhoods, robust employment. We're a hub of innovation, a magnet for tech startups, and home to dynamic educational institutions. We're a community that draws on our multiculturalism, draws strength from that, and celebrates our diversity. Waterloo Region's many immigrants bring new ideas, they bring global connections. With many employers struggling to find and retain talent, immigrants will play a significant role in filling this gap as we move forward. Our arts, culture, and heritage attract talent, and they attract visitors. The region proudly supports local arts and culture to enrich the lives of our residents. Our unique mix of bustling urban cities nestled next to tranquil, idyllic townships give all of us a sense of hometown pride. But this isn't the whole story of Waterloo Region. Our story also includes things like climate change, environmental challenges, unemployment. It includes urban sprawl, traffic congestion, and an ongoing struggle to get daily connections to Toronto. Our story includes vulnerable residents, families who cannot afford healthy food or rent, a frustratingly long wait list for affordable housing. We have people who sleep on church lawns and crowd our emergency shelters in the winter. Our story includes addiction and an opioid crisis that has seen hundreds of our citizens die from overdose during the past 3 years. There is work to be done, but we are a community that has a long track record of working together to make change happen. Here are some stunning examples. As a community, we reinvented ourselves after the local decline in manufacturing. In 2016, we housed thousands of Syrian refugees who arrived here after fleeing their war-torn country. Last year, we identified some problems facing local youth during the Smart Cities Challenge. We're now facing up to those challenges, finding solutions, and investing in young people. We have a way of finding collective, innovative solutions, made in Waterloo Region solutions. We have our work cut out for us, but I am confident that we are up to the task. Connecting. Last June, we proudly launched ION, a transformational rapid transit system that has already changed our urban landscape and spurred over $3 billion in economic development. ION connects seamlessly with our newly expanded Grand River Transit to create an efficient, easy-to-use public transit system. Make no mistake, ION was no small feat. Our LRT is one of only 4 systems in Canada, joining Calgary, Edmonton, and Ottawa. The vision for this transformative system was nurtured by successive former councils who maintained faith over decades of planning to see it realized. ION has given public transit in Waterloo Region a huge boost. It is moving people and helping them access all that our amazing communities have to offer. Since the start of service, borderings along the Central Transit Corridor are up by an amazing 35%. ION is also doing so much more. It is the keystone to a well-planned, well-connected community that will redefine growth for generations. It will concentrate growth in our core areas and help to preserve our farmlands and our woodlands for those who come next, for my children and grandchildren and yours. The region is also deeply invested in active transportation. In fact, we're investing in 580 kilometers of active transportation infrastructure over the next 10 years. We're building more cycling lanes, protected cycling lanes, and multi-use trails, encouraging bikes on trains and buses, and piloting a bike share program. We know the importance of connecting our trails, neighborhoods, and communities, of encouraging people to get around without relying on cars. We know the importance of providing affordable, sustainable transportation choices, making our communities accessible for residents of all ages and all mobilities. Our future transit hub in downtown Kitchener will integrate ION, GRT, GO, VIA, and other transit services in a seamless transportation facility, allowing visitors and residents to connect in Waterloo Region, within the region and beyond. Two-way all-day GO is a big piece of this puzzle, and I am hopeful that it will roll out soon. Now, the province has increased the number of trains, but there is more work to be done. When the business community, chambers of commerce, the tech sector, and local governments speak with one voice, senior levels of government do listen. They do respond. It happened with the LRT, and if we're consistent and persistent, it will happen with two-way all-day GO. From ION and GRT to active transportation, our future transit hub, there are so many ways that we are working to connect people and places of Waterloo Region. Future-focused. Public transit and active transportation are important components of a connected community, but they're also important as part of our future. Future-focused thinking is deeply embedded into Waterloo Region's decision-making. We are constantly peering beyond to the horizon to ensure that good quality of life is there for the next generation. That's why protecting our natural environment is an underlying consideration to every decision we make at the council table. There is nothing more fundamental to the quality of life a community enjoys than the environment. People are drawn to our region for its green spaces and clean living. We are working with municipal partners and organizations like Sustainable Waterloo Region and Green Solutions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2050. We're diverting waste from our landfill by continuing to invest in our already successful recycling and organic waste programs. Waterloo Region is the home of the Blue Box, but our residents continue to embrace recycling, both the Blue Box and the Green Bin programs. We achieved a remarkable 65% diversion rate in 2019, and the highest in our history and one of the best in Ontario. We're collecting landfill gas to reduce emissions and generate enough electricity to power 5,000 homes. We continue to be strong stewards of our river and groundwater resources in so many ways. We're reducing road salt that seeps into the ground, encouraging the use of water-efficient fixtures and rain barrels, sharing the importance of water with our youth at the Children's Groundwater Festival. And I'm proud that we continue to have one of the lowest rates of water use in the country. All of these activities become more challenging as Waterloo Region grows. We're the second fastest growing region in Canada, with a population expected to reach 835,000 by 2041. And as you may expect, it takes careful planning, long-term vision, and quite a bit of collaboration to maintain the quality of life for which Waterloo Region is so well known. We're building a future where people who could work and live anywhere in the world would choose to come and live in Waterloo Region, to call Waterloo Region home. The Waterloo Economic Development Corporation, a partnership between the region and local municipal partners, is helping drive our strong economy into the future. Together, we have had $1.9 billion impact in Waterloo Region through investment in tech, advanced manufacturing, automotive, and medtech sectors. Building on this momentum, we're optimistic about the business and the job growth in Waterloo Region in 2020 and beyond. Resilient. As we look to the future, we're full of excitement and optimism, but we're also profoundly aware that some of our citizens could be left behind. It's no secret that some of our residents are struggling with homelessness. Others can't afford rent and are on wait lists for affordable housing. These are complex issues, and there is work to be done. There are no simple solutions, but Regional Council is deeply committed to making progress through collaboration with community partners. We are already finding innovative solutions to boost our affordable housing stock. Council recently approved a $247 million plan to help create 600 new affordable units. We're also unlocking surplus municipal property and partnering with the private and not-for-profit sector to find unique housing solutions. We're increasing our funding for housing programs, working to make housing more affordable, and helping people to access emergency shelters and supports when they need them. The opioid crisis has shaken our communities to the core. People are dying. Hundreds have overdosed over the past few years, and that's not okay. We need to remember that these people are more than just numbers. They're somebody's everything. They're brothers and sisters, daughters and sons, parents and friends. There's a lot of disagreement in the community about how to solve this complex problem. Emotions are running high, but we know that doing nothing is not an option. So we're working across sectors to forge unique made-in-Waterloo region solutions. In October, after extensive consultations, we proudly opened a much-needed health clinic on Duke Street. Since opening, staff at this clinic have reversed dozens of overdoses and connected hundreds of individuals with healthcare, addiction, and recovery services. There's more to be done, but we're moving in the right direction. This would not have been possible without the support of the Council of City Kitchener, partnerships with so many in the community. Kitchener House of Friendship, St. John's Kitchen, Downtown Health Center, Sanguine Health, Waterloo Regional Police Services, Public Health, and the Crime Prevention Council. Recently, a new mobile clinic operated by Sanguine Health was purchased with funding from the Lynn and Telus. This is so much more than a van. With the help of dedicated outreach workers, it eliminates barriers and brings judgment-free health care to people living on the margins of society so that they can get the help that they need with dignity. I know we will continue to advocate for people struggling with addiction, providing paths to better health, rehabilitation, and a more meaningful engagement in society. We will also continue to build more community housing and find ways to help people get back on their feet, because that's what we do in Waterloo Region. A few years ago, I was canoeing down the Grand with my family, and I distinctly recall just being overwhelmed with the stillness of the river, the sound of our paddles, and the sound of nature all around us. And as we approached the Fairway Bridge, the region's newest bridge at the time, the muffled sound of traffic overtook the sounds, and I listened to the cars commuting from Kitchener to Cambridge and Cambridge to Kitchener, and it really sort of intruded that urban vibe on the idyllic setting that we had. But as we went away from those concrete pylons, the sounds of nature took over again. And when I look back and I reflect on that experience, it strikes me that Waterloo Region not only builds physical bridges like the one we had just passed under, but we build symbolic bridges. Bridges across sectors, cities and townships, bridges across levels of government, urban and rural divides. We build bridges towards collaboration, hope, and a brighter future. The story of Waterloo Region is about connecting communities, carving our own path towards the future, and always remaining resilient. In all that we do, we are looking upstream, building bridges for our citizens, our neighborhoods, and communities, for the residents here and now, and for those who will come next. Thank you for traveling this journey with me. Thank you for continuing to build bridges with Waterloo Region for a better tomorrow. We should all be proud of the community we are today and excited about the community we're building for the next generation. I know I am. Thank you.
Now you have to get an official thank you.
Oh, okay.
You want to stay here?
Sure.
Okay. I agree with 99.9%, except I hate those damn bike lanes on King Street in Waterloo. I know I'm old. I drive every morning from King and Bridgeport Road up to Malou-Blamey in Waterloo, and I come back, and so far I haven't seen one student in those bike lanes. Other than that, you're doing a very good job. I'm not running for anything. Now, in order to offer official thanks, we'll represent our other Rotary Club who are here. I want to introduce the president of that club. Paul Rostrup is his name. He's, after 30 years in commercial banking, he's a retired commercial banker in 2018. He's lived in lots of places, born and raised in Montreal, and he's been in Ontario since 1979. And he and his wife Paula lived in Toronto, Halton Hills, and since 2011 here in Waterloo. Paul and Paula have two sons, one in Toronto with their only granddaughter, another in Vancouver. And he and Paula is a printmaker with a studio at the Button Factory in Waterloo. It's good to know and get to know a little bit about these people and what it is they do in our community in ways of contributions. He's been with the Kitchener Rotary Club since 2012, and he's the president this year. Please welcome to offer our official thanks, Paul Rostrup.
Thank you, Neil. It is my honor to extend our thank you to our regional chair, Karen Redmond, for her talk today. Karen touched on the importance in our community of resiliency and in making connections with others. And these are topics that I know that are important to Karen, as I've also had the benefit of knowing Karen through her involvement with the Rotary Club of Kitchener, where she's been a member for 21 years. And when talking about the importance of making connections, this is also a message that's central to Rotary. Every year, Rotary adopts a theme, and this year, Rotary's theme is Rotary Connects the World. So perfect connection with what we're talking about here today. And if you can allow me a minute or two, I would like to touch on the history of Rotary in Kitchener and Waterloo and the impact Rotary has made in connecting groups to do good in the community. Rotary in Kitchener-Waterloo will be celebrating 100 years of service to the community in 2022. We are in the planning stages for events to celebrate this milestone and to recognize the aspects of our community that were made possible through the work of Rotary over the past century. One of the most significant achievements has been the work with children with disabilities. And this was actually the very first project undertaken by Rotary in 1922. And over the years, this effort led to the establishment of what was originally called the Rotary Children's Center in 1957, and which eventually became Kidsability, which today is a thriving hub empowering children and youth with a wide range of complex needs, special needs to realize their full potential. And our work continues to this day, raising funds to help support Kidsability. Other groups we've supported include House of Friendship, Women's Addiction Center, and Selma House, the Kitchener-Waterloo Art Gallery, Habitat for Humanity. There's so many. There's a list about this long in the club's history, and many of those are, of course, here today. So, and Karen mentioned many of them in her talk as well. Rotary has also supported international work around the world, and I would like to touch on one outstanding example, because for me, I've only been a member of the club for 8 years. When I learned about this, I just thought it's a story that people need to hear about. It's an example is the Rotary African Women's Education Fund in Uganda. And this fund was established by an individual named Audrey Whipper. She's past Rotarian and was a lecturer at the University of Waterloo. And she had conducted research for her PhD in sociology in Uganda, focusing on economically disadvantaged women in the western part of Kenya. Research has shown that focusing on women's education is the most powerful way to make a difference in community development. And Audrey was determined to make a difference. She started a fund to support women in Uganda to obtain a university education. She initially provided a donation of $500,000 to establish the education fund. And when she passed away in 2018, she created a further legacy with a contribution of over $1 million, which will further help to support many more women in Africa to access a university education. This story for me, like for Rotary in Kitchener, it's a story that stands out in terms of the difference a small number of people can make in connecting with others in the world. And something I think we just need to talk about more. Rotary's played a central role in the local community, and as we prepare for the celebrations for our 100th year, we're focused on making new connections in the community. We encourage anyone who's here today to reach out to us. Same message as what Laura said before me, whether it's to help with our local projects, our international initiatives, or simply to help in building new relationships in our community. And again, we thank Karen Redmond for her inspiring talk today, and also thank Karen for allowing Rotary the opportunity to help make this event possible. We also thank everyone who's here today for taking time from your busy schedules. So thank you. And now, Laura, if you can come up. We have a presentation for our regional chair, Karen Redmond. It's one of these three bags.
I'll give it
Take
back.
the bag and we'll sort it out. Thank you very much.